Good afternoon. This is the world news on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. I am MODUPE AKINYOSOYE. Here are the top stories. President Buhari inaugurates Dangote refinery. Governor El-Rufai deposes two traditional rulers days to hand over. In business, Dangote refinery to generate 12,000 megawatts of electricity. On the foreign scene, junior doctors in England to strike for 3 days in June. And in sport, Juventus deducted 10 points over illicit transfer. Details of this and more coming up shortly. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday inaugurated the $18.5 billion Dangote Petroleum Refinery, which is expected to catalyze the transformation of Nigeria's energy sector. Speaking at inauguration, President Buhari described the establishment of the refinery as a milestone for Nigeria's economy and a game changer for the downstream petroleum product market. Stressing on the significance of the project, the president said Nigeria's economy has been stressed for many decades by huge deficit in economic infrastructure and over a decade of insurgency. According to the president, the consequences of these challenges constitute a severe strain on the economy, limiting government's ability to provide basic infrastructure without resorting to huge borrowings. The refinery, which is the largest single train facility in the world, has the capacity to produce 650,000 barrels of crude a day. Councils of President-elect Bola Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress (APC) have opposed the move to harmonize 3 pending petitions against them at the tribunal. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) and its presidential candidates Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, candidate of the Labour Party, and the Allied People's Movement (APM) are challenging Tinubu's victory. The Presidential Election Petition Court had raised the issue of consolidating all the petitions and asked parties to address it, but at the resumed proceedings on Monday, Tinubu and the APC insisted that merging all the petitions would affect their ability to effectively defend all the issues that were raised by the petitioners. They maintained that the petitioners did not only raise various issues, but are seeking different reliefs. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, on Monday urged judges in the country to shun all forms of bias and ensure justice is dispensed equitably in all cases before them. Justice Ariwola, who spoke at the opening ceremony of the conference of the National Association of Women Judges in Nigeria, stressed that it was the only way to restore confidence in the country. Describing the judiciary as the last hope of the common man, the CJN said judges must strive to interpret the law at all times without affection and ill will. Speaking further, Justice Ariwola urged all critical stakeholders to synergize to tackle human trafficking and other issues of gender-based violence in the country. The Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) has again called on government at all levels to look into revamping Nigeria's public schools, the primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions before they go extinct. The union noted that these are the majority of schools that are available to the bulk of citizens. The union made a request at its 22nd National Delegates Conference held at the University of Jos. The ASU National President, Professor Emmanuel Shodeke, lamented the dwindling standard of public schools, which he said is gradually taking its toll on the masses. Shodeke was re-elected as ASU President during the conference. With a week to the end of his tenure, Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State has approved the deposition of the traditional rulers. His Highness Jonathan Paragwa Zamuna and Arak Chiefdoms, His Highness General Aliyu Iliya Yama. In a statement, the Commissioner for Local Government, Umar Ahmed, stated that the two monarchs ceased to hold their respective offices from Monday, 22nd of May 2023. The Commissioner stated that the depositions followed recommendations from the Ministry of a local government in line. The statement also announced the immediate disengagement of the village heads in the chiefdom. You're listening to the World News on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Still to come, business, foreign and sport news. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the rest of the news. In business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has said that the newly inaugurated Dangote Petroleum Refinery and petrochemicals will help Nigeria generate more power for its electricity sector. Speaking at inauguration, Governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, said the Dangote Refinery is expected to generate 12,000 megawatts of electricity. He stated that over 135,000 permanent jobs will be available to Nigerians as operations get underway. Emefiele disclosed that 50% of the fund for the refinery was obtained through loans, adding that the company has been able to pay back 70% of it. President and Chief Executive of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, says the first product of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and petrochemicals will be in the market before the end of July. Dangote stated this while giving the welcome address at the inauguration of the 650,000 barrel per day refinery on Monday. He stated that the refinery will stop toxic substandard petroleum products from being dumped in Nigerian market. On the foreign scene, junior doctors in England have announced a new 72-hour walkout in June after the latest round of government pay talks broke down. The strike will take place between 7 o'clock on Wednesday, June 13, and 7 o'clock Saturday, June 17. The British Medical Association Union, which represents doctors and medical students, said a government offer of a 5% rise was not credible. A government spokesperson called the new pay offer fair and reasonable and said it was surprising and deeply disappointing that the BMA, had declared further strikes while constructive talks were ongoing. And this will be the third strike by junior doctors since the pay dispute began, with the union asking for a 35% increase to make up for 15 years of below inflation rises. In the world of sports, Nigeria Super Falcons will know their opponents in the qualifiers for the 2024 Women's Olympic Football Tournament next week, Tuesday, May 30. The draw ceremony for the qualifiers for the Paris Olympic Games will take place in Cairo, Egypt. The draw will mark the beginning of the journey to the next year's Summer Olympic Games scheduled in Paris, France for women's football in Africa. The African qualifiers will kick off in July 2023 and will be concluded in April 2024 with 2 teams qualifying for the Olympics from Africa. The Super Falcons have failed to qualify for the last 3 editions of the Olympic Games. Juventus on Monday were given a 10-point deduction in Serie A after a revision of their initial 15-point penalty inflicted on the club over illicit transfer activity. The new sanction, announced by the Italian Football Federation, appeals court, hopes of qualifying for next season Champions League, pushing them out of the top 4 with 3 matches remaining this season. Massimiliano Allegri's men, who were second in the top flight, dropped to 7th in the table. Juve are now 5 points behind 4th place AC Milan ahead of their game in hand later on Monday at Empoli. To end the world news, a quick recap of the major stories. We reported that President Buhari inaugurated Dangote Refinery. Governor verified post to traditional rulers days to hand over. In business, we reported that Dangote Refinery to generate 12,000 megawatts of electricity. On the foreign scene, junior doctors in England to strike for 3 days in June. And in sports, we reported that Juventus deducted 10 points over illicit transfer. The World News was edited by Oluwafisayomi Ajibola and produced by Abida Tawhid. For more news and updates, you can follow us on social media on Facebook www.facebook.com/Al-IyamoyeTV and radio, on Twitter at Iyamoye, and on Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTV. You can also stream live by logging on to our website www.aliyamoyetvradio.com. Thank you so much for listening. I am MODUPE AKINYOSOYE. Good afternoon.